Hey, listeners. This is just a quick video essay on the decline of American health, the role of fats, carb, and education. Now, here's a quick stunning fact to start us off. Obesity rates have tripled in the past 30 years, and along with it, diabetes and other cardiovascular health issues. Now, there's a big question that this brings up. Where did this come from? What happened? Is it what people are eating? Is it what people are not eating? Is it people's activity? Is it just the times? Is it global warming? Who knows? Okay, but we're going to dive into that. Now here's a quick historical timeline. So following World War II, um, the U.S. Department of Agriculture was forced to develop and to be able to provide for all these peoples, for all these mouths that they needed to feed with all these immigrants coming in from third world countries, and to be able to provide food to not just America, but to the whole world who was struggling at this time financially. And so the government decided that it would be proper if they made a food pyramid of sorts where they were able to tell people, hey, there's not a lot of food. It's expensive. We understand that. So we're going to make y'all a chart of what y'all should be eating in y'all's daily life to get the nutrition you need, to get the vitamins, to get everything so that y'all can live healthily while still, having a buck or two to spend elsewhere. And so the food pyramid was devised. And that placed carbs at the bottom level, the foundation, the breads. Like we said, the Department of Agriculture was this big thing. So it was like, hey, we have big bread production, so let's just get these people to eat the bread. That'll stop hunger. And so that's what they did. They released a chart that had red meats at the top saying we need to save that, like we have some research showing that that can be bad, unmonitored if people just eat that, and it's also very expensive, and so we should probably just leave that for the small percentage of what people should be eating. So anywho, people started eating a lot more bread, and bread became more of a foundation in our society. And later we'll see this food pyramid from 1992 change as in 2011 and 2020 it updated into my plate, which it's a diagram that has a plate and it has your little quadrants according to how much someone should eat. It reduced grain recommendations as initially, but this change, in my opinion, came way too late in addressing the rising obesity rates. As you're not telling people we made a mistake, we should not be eating this many grains. Because what happens with all that extra, it just. Now, misconceptions about fats. So, the food pyramid demonized fats in these early studies showing a link to heart disease and obesity, but it didn't really show the minutia of the case. It didn't show the difference in fats because some fats can be healthy and some cannot be healthy. It's very depending on what you're eating and how much, everything at specific rates. And with these fats, there was a fear brought of cholesterol that if you eat a lot of cholesterol, your cardiovascular system will blow up, But recent research has actually found that this isn't the case, as there was a student who decided to test this, and he decided to eat eggs, a food with relatively high cholesterol, for around a month, just eggs every meal. And his cholesterol rates actually dropped a little bit. And that's the surprising thing. Like his body maybe got better at processing it, or you know, but it just shows that you're not just gonna blow up if you eat a lot of cholesterol. Your brain is almost completely made of cholesterol. We need that to survive. Cholesterol is more than just a danger thing. People should be educated in school how these things make up their body and how they can affect their body. And so recently, also another recently, sugar and carbohydrate industries were actually drawn to influencing studies to blame fats instead of sugar. So pretty much it came out that the big Coke industry and some other big industries paid Harvard staff, like the researchers, to say that fats were the issue instead of sugar because they were doing a large scale research projects, seeing what is starting to make people fat, because they saw the obesity rates starting to go up and the bad health starting to go up. So they're like, okay, we need to test this. And so the sugar industries paid them to say, that's fats. Sugar is fine. I mean, yes, we should watch how much we eat, but it's fine, which is fraudulent research. That's it's pretty crazy. And the result of this was carbs and processed sugars dominating the American diet because people are like, oh, it's just bread. It's fine. Oh, it's just sugar. It's fine. Now, I think these are the real culprits of obesity in our society, as high carbohydrate and sugar intake contributes to obesity, insulin resistance, and increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Now, when I say insulin resistance, you're probably like, what does that even mean? Well, as your body has more of the glucose in its systems, it needs more insulin to be able to clean itself out. And so it's like a tolerance type thing where you're building a tolerance to insulin, so your body needs to produce more, but it puts a cap on it. And so that's where you get a lot of this type 2 diabetes from, is from these these people who are just eating. They have all this sugar intake, they have all this glucose, and their body can't compensate, so they need to start taking insulin shots and outside help, when we can remedy it from the dietary aspect alone. Of course, with medical aid would be nice. So, here's a quick global comparison. The Mediterranean diet. So the Mediterranean diet has been drawn to lower rates of Alzheimer's, lower rates in diabetes, and lower rates in cardiovascular issues. And this is with diets that are very rich in fats. They have fatty fish. This is on the Greek island of Crete. They have olive oil and fish. What else are they going to eat? They're on an island. So they're eating a lot of lamb because they're shepherds and stuff out there. And they're eating a lot of fish because it's an island. And they're eating a lot of olive oil. All these are filled with fats, lots of fat. But they're healthy fat. You see, that's the difference, is that their bodies are made to process these fats, and these are healthier fats, as said in my presentation. And these healthier fats actually bring lower rates of heart disease despite the high fat consumption. And so the way this works is with the help of antioxidants, fiber, and the balance of diet. And this is all in like the American diet. This should be made commonplace so that we don't have this issue. Now there are some mental and physical effects that are brought about by what we eat. As we previously said, obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other metabolic disorders can be the case as your body can't keep up with itself. It's running on bad fuel, or it's running on fuel that it can't process. It's like putting diesel gas in your normal car. Your car's gonna be like, huh? But processed foods and sugars can also contribute to inflammation and poor metabolic health, as whenever you have this, it's called anarchic, we'll go with anarchic acid. It causes your cell linings to be easy to burst, and it causes them to be fragile, and this can contribute to inflammation and the oxidation of your blood, which is like the running down of your blood. And so that's what causes inflammation, and that's from all these bad fats with the omega-6 oils, which I'll go into later, or I've already gone through, I'm not sure. We'll see. So, mental health and effects. So, diets high in sugar and refined carbs increase the risk of depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. This is proven. There are lines between Alzheimer's and diet, which are very clear, which research is starting to come out about. But there is a case where there is a nursing home, and they are feeding these people very natural diets. These people have Alzheimer's, they have dementia, and they're seeing a lot of positive effects coming from it, like a slowing of the Alzheimer's, like decaying of the mind, and these healthy fats that we were talking about earlier, such as the omega-3s actually support brain health and reduce mental health disorders. So this may be one of the reasons why these people they're doing better, is because they're starting to get these things that their body needs to fortify itself against these diseases such as Alzheimer's. Now, this all has a big role in education and socioeconomic factors, as people are poorly educated on nutrition, to be blunt. You know, you see people buying these Lunchables and these Feastables for their kids. Oh, that's fine. They have ham, bread, chocolate. It's all fine. But people don't know what they're eating. They're just like, oh, it's meat. It's healthy. Oh, it's bread. It's just a filler. But people should have, I think, a bare bones on how they should know how to take care of themselves. They should know how to watch over their health and extend their life as long as they can and help those around them. And it's all in moderation, right? And so, but what we see in our society is people who go get fast food nearly every day, even as overpriced it is. That's crazy. But these people they're going to these places and I think fast food, the idea behind it is fine. Fast food's fine. It's just the seed oils that they cook it in. They use seed oils rather than fruit oils. We talked about the Greeks. They used olive oil, which is using the fruit of the olive rather than the seed. But the seeds are, whenever you process them into these oils, they're high in omega-6 oils, which your body can't handle too much of, you know? And so whenever people are eating these fast foods all the time, it's adding weight to their tummy. It's adding weight out down here, and and their body's just not able to process. So it's like, okay, we'll store this for later when we need it. But even in our health class at IW, I feel like I was poorly educated. Instead of going over the My Plate, which would have been better than the food pyramid or any other thing, though I think it could be better than the My Plate. We could find something better than the My Plate. But what I'm saying is, at an institutional standard, we learned about the food pyramid rather than the My Plate, the newer nutritional guideline, which kind of shows that this is all outdated and this all needs to change. We need people to start going in our education system and showing people, hey, this might not be good. There's some bad issues like autoimmunity can go up when people, like, according to diet. You see some people go on carnivore diets and it helps their inflammation drop and it helps them actually be able to live and not have brain fog and not have all these hanging down issues, because in this society there's so many of us and we all have our own unique problems and we are weighed down by our diets a lot of the time. That's why so many people have headaches and there's so many dehydration problems, but that's a tangent. Back to this. So there's a large industry influence over this. Um, People try to pay the cheapest for their food. They want to get it at a good price, and so they're naturally going to be getting a lower quality of food. And our food industries, especially in America, are not up to what I would say is code, because you see in Canada and in the EU, they have all these food dyes and all these other additives which are unnecessary. Why do we need them? And they have them illegal. They have them, oh, food industries can't use them. But in America, we're kind of just now waking up to that, and we don't really have many of these food industry standards put up, and so it's pretty unregulated. And so people are like, oh, it's fine if it's on the shelves. They have to check over at the FDA and everything, but the standard's pretty low, so we got to do better. Um, so again, people can argue that low-income communities face a higher proportion of obesity and such because they don't have the money for an education that'll teach them about this. They don't have the money to even be able to pay for food that isn't at this lower cheap level, and so they have to get the bare minimum and they have to do it. But and these fast food outlets that are next to schools only increase obesity rates as kids are like, oh, I'm gonna go grab fast food, that's fun. And it is, but it should be a treat. It should be treated as a treat, because too much of anything is not good. Now, there are multiple solutions or different ways we can go about this, but I believe that one, reevaluating nutritional guidelines is very important, shifting the focus from, oh, fats, oh, that's too fat, I can't eat that, to, hey, how many grams of sugar have I had today? Have I already had a Coke today? And how much bread have I had today is, I don't know. It's just too much of anything is not good, and that needs to be something that a lot of people know, and I think that's very important. Additionally, too, I think that we should increase public awareness. So, a lot of people are grown up and they're not going to go back to school to learn about nutrition. So, I think that we should maybe we have so much money from the government flooding into all these useless departments, like the new Donald Trump headed Department of Doge kind of proves that they're like, oh, we're going to cut down on these big regulate groups within the government which are unnecessary. Like we have so much money going to education. I'm sure a little bit could be diverted to being for ads that say, hey, just watch what you eat, and just flash up a jingle saying a catchy jingle talking about sugars and carbs and how people can take care of themselves. And lastly, I think we need some policy changes, like I was saying, that similar to Canada and to the EU, and we just need to reform our school of thought when we look at food, and 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 I just hope that this will bring about some change. Now, some final thoughts. The decline of American health is not solely due to fats. I'm not saying that at all, and I'm not saying fats are not the problem at all. I'm not saying that fats are the hugest problem. I'm just saying that it's a combination of a lot. We live in a society that doesn't exercise much. People are also inside every day. They're not getting their vitamin D. People are always dehydrated. People are eating excess sugar and processed foods and having a just they're uneducated. People are just uneducated and ignorant, to be blunt. And by addressing the root of this issue, the ignorance, I believe that we can amend it. I think that we can help people. We can drop the number of obesity and the number of all these health issues, especially with the mind. All these people are suffering from Alzheimer's. I think we can drop those numbers. And I think that as a society, we will be mentally healthier, as people will feel more confident about themselves, and just physically healthier, as people feel better. Whenever you just eat good and you work out and you do everything you're supposed to be doing, you just feel good. And that's all I'm here to say. Thank y'all.